This is my buddy Bobo, and Bobo likes to bark at people that walk by. In this video, we're going to go over how you can stop your dog from barking at people that come by, playing a little bit of a counter conditioning game called engage, disengage. So I'm going to ask Bobo to sit, and a little rule of thumb is I don't ask a dog that is reactive or scared to sit. Or force them to sit, a better way to put it. I ask them to sit like that all the time because that's my indication if the dog's comfortable. If a dog will not sit near something that it's reactive to or fearful of, you should move 5 feet away, and then ask for a sit again. If they won't sit there, move 5 feet away. Keep on moving 5 feet away until your dog will sit and easily take a treat. All right, so we've got Bobo's guardian, who he doesn't know yet, is outside, and he's over there, and he's going to be walking by. He's actually going to be skipping by. And Bobo normally reacts. Now, what I've got is a bunch of treats here, and we've already loaded a marker word. His marker word is good. Good. Sit. Now, right now, I'm asking him to sit. I don't have to have a dog sit for this exercise. I'm just doing a sit now because it makes it easier to manage him. And when he gets up, it could be a good indication for me. But it's okay if your dog doesn't want to sit when you're doing this exercise. We just want to kind of orientate this direction. So I'm going to kind of stand over here so that he's going to catch his guardian's movement as he walks by. Bobo, sit. Good. All right, action. A little skipping, please. Good. Now you saw he didn't want to take it, so I had to put it in his mouth. Eventually, well, let's go ahead and repeat coming back. Good. So what I'm doing is, this is the engage part of the exercise. Now I'm going to have you just walk back and forth if you could. Now, having somebody, I don't want to pull him on the leash. You saw I almost started to do that and I stopped myself. Now he's reset himself, so I'm going to kind of reset because he was going to be facing that way. I want him facing that direction. So he's going to see it. We've got a little bit of a visual obscurity, but not total, not full. So basically what we're doing is, this is the engage, disengage game. So when he sees his guardian, who he doesn't know is his guardian, I had him change clothes. Go ahead and walk by again. When he sees, which he's going to see in a sec, I'm going to mark him looking good. And then he gets a treat. Good. And there's nothing wrong with just free treating the whole time. I prefer to do it like he looks, then I say good, and he's going to look away. Go ahead and walk back again. What I want to see him doing is looking good. So I'm having to hold the treat, but after you do this enough, you should say good and he turns away. That's why we call it the engage, disengage game. Go ahead and come back again. So eventually what we'd like to see is he looks good. That was what we're looking for. So good caused him to turn his head away, and then when he looks back, the scary thing is gone. Now, the scary thing, the distance between you and the scary thing is important. There's two things that are really important for this game. He can't react. He can react by looking, his ear can rotate. What we can't do is lunge, bark, growl. If he does that, we are too close to the stimulus. Stimulus being the guy walking back and forth. That's why having a friend do it makes it easier. A lot of times I'm talking my earbuds so I can control the person. If he gets really worked up, I have the person walk out of sight, I settle him down, pet him, give him a chance to reset, and have the person come back. Now, the first part of this game is called the engage game. So when the person comes, he looks at the person. I'm marking when he looks at the person. Now the second part of the game is, after a while, he's going to look at the person, and then he's going to look, and then look away. Good. And then the second part is I'm going to mark and reward disengaging, looking away from the scary thing. So first, when he looks at the scary thing, we're changing making a positive emotional response. So when he looks at the scary thing, I say good. He knows that good means he did something that we like, and then he gets a reward. Treats are like $100 bills for dogs. After a while, the dog's like, I like looking at the scary thing because it gets me a treat. Bobo. Now, right now, we're I'd say about 20 feet away from the sidewalk. Well, we have about 7 or 8 feet to the fence, probably have 3 to 5 feet after that, and then the sidewalk. Now, when the guardian was walking by, Bobo wasn't really paying attention, so I had him skip. And then after a while, we went to a walking. Basically, we kind of depend on what's going on. If like 5 kids are coming by and they're talking really loud, that's going to be more stimulus. I might need to move a couple feet away when we're doing that one. If it's an old person who's walking very slowly, or a dog that's really chill, I might be able to be a little bit closer when I do this. And the idea is, we'd like to gradually get closer and closer and closer, but dog training is not a linear process. Same thing with behavior modification. He will have good days, he will have bad days. A lot of my clients, they go from here to here to here to here. They get here and they have a bad day. And they're like, stop working. He's just having a bad day, like we have good hair days and bad hair days. So the idea is, Bobo, Bobo, touch, good. So that's a positive. That's the positive interruption lesson. And then I'll go ahead and find it. I'm going to give him some other things to do. Whatever it was, I'm not going to disagree with the dog that barks. I'm just going to create a situation where you have more distance. When a dog barks at something, it just wants the thing to go away, which is another way of saying it wants more distance. So if I move the thing, if I move him away or create a situation where the person moves away, we take care of that on their own, for them, so the dog doesn't need to do that. So eventually, as we're doing this, we're going to be able to get closer and closer. Good. Now, just like anything else, well, I guess I just went through that. So keep in mind who the people are, but it's best at first when you're doing this to have the person be a friend of yours or a neighbor, somebody that's conveniently nearby that you can talk to, and so that you guys can both be here practicing this. The last thing is sit. Good. I'm not a big fan of roller coasters, but roller coasters are just whatever reason. But basically, when you're on a roller coaster, it's a very intense experience. You burn a lot of calories, even though you're just sitting there. If you're doing this exercise right, the dog should not be reacting. I went over how to read dog body language and cutoff signals earlier, and we want to watch for those things when we're doing this. We want to stop him before he needs to bark and lunge or whatever it is. Sit. But when we're doing this, even if we're doing it right, it should look like the dog's just looking. The dog's not really doing anything. There's a really intense emotion. So when I do this, I don't do this for longer than like maybe 1 or 2 minutes. Then I call the dog away, give him some belly rubs, let him relax, play fetch or whatever they want to do for a minute or two, then come back and do this. I might do a series of maybe 6 or 7 minutes tops, but in 3 or 4 1 to 2 minute training sessions because it can be really intense. And that allows the dog to decompress, take a little bit of a break. And what we're really trying to do is we're trying to stack a lot of positive situations together. Now, the last little thing that I've come up with for this to help clients be more productive. Bobo. All right, I'm going to have you skip by a couple more times. Go back and forth along the path 3 times if you could. Sit. All right, so I'm going to wait. And let's do a skip the next time. That was too subtle. You don't have to go that far. Good. That's 1. Good. 2. They're crunchy, aren't they? And again, I want them looking there. Are you coming one more time? Good. 3. Good. 4. Whoops. All right, you get an extra one here. I'll give you that one. All right, so that was a 4-0 score. So when you're doing this, to keep track of your progress, every time he looks and you say good and give him a treat and he doesn't react, that's a count of 1 in your positive column. Every time he lunges or barks or growls, that's 1 in the negative column. At the end of this exercise, we'd like to be 20, 30, 40, or 50 to 0. That's our goal. Or 1 or 2. But if we push so far that he starts barking and lunging, that's what he's practicing doing. So what we're looking for is to practice this when people come by and I got like 40 good looks and 0 barkings. And then he does it again. And maybe we have 30, next time we get 15, 40. After the end of the week, it's like we've had 183 practices of looking at people and getting a treat and 0 practices of barking. Now, the last little tip. If he's out here, he sees something, he barks at them, that's practicing what we don't want. Now, when we're actively practicing like I'm doing right now, that's okay because we're here to give treats. But the rest of the time, if he sees somebody and he barks at them and they appear to go by, that's going to reward and reinforce that barking behavior. So what some people might do is do something to cover that visual acuity just for, not forever, but for a short period of time. It takes about 3 months for a dog to develop habit. So we get like a banner or something like that we put up there so that when he's out here, he's going to say his guardian's name, he doesn't see the people coming by and he's less likely to bark. We have a speaker here. Maybe we play a little bit of music to kind of mask any sounds. So we want to prevent the dog from practicing the unwanted behavior for about 3 months while we help them practice the desired behavior multiple times a day in short practice sessions for that same 3 months. And after a while, the way our brains and dogs' brains are set up, the dog is more likely to look at something and then look at you and saying, you owe me a treat for that, right? Bobo. Oh, I almost rolled my ankle. Sit. Let's come over a little bit further away. We got to get them looking at you. Come here, buddy. Sit. This is Bobo. This is Martha. And these are some tips and tricks you can use if you have a dog that likes to bark at people that walk by your fence. You're a goofy one. Yes, you are.